I'm Steven Nonsense, and let's go video game thrifting in Denmark. In this second episode of video game thrifting through Denmark, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about Læsehesten, which you can translate it as the reading horse. Don't ask me why it's a horse that reads, it just is. Might be a Danish thing that I'm not exactly understanding. So as opposed to basically all of the other discs that I showed you last time that I got from thrift stores that are charity based, Læsehesten is an actual, they buy your stuff basically and then they sell it off afterwards. It's a proper hobby thrift shop, let's say. And it's not like they don't just do video games. They do all kinds of media. Music, they have a lot of vinyl and books, DVDs obviously, magazines, toys. They also have some gadgets, some tech here and there, but it kind of depends on those. The occasional figurine, and this place has the most interesting, let's say, the most interesting porn aisle that I've ever seen in any such establishment. The erotica, let's say, area of the store is so massive that there's a series of like I imagine they're erotica books, let's say, romance novels, but more towards the porny aspect, that numbered well within the 800s. All of this in Danish, by the way. Besides, all the magazines and DVDs and of the sort, yeah, that the porn area is great. I don't have footage of the porn area for more or less obvious reasons, but yeah, granted, my main interest is in video games and the relatively small English language book section. I have some footage of that as well. And yeah, the thing is, PC games, interestingly enough, are most of them, the majority of them are incredibly cheap. As you well know, I got, well, you don't well know, but each one of these cost me 10 Danish crowns. There's 15 of them, was 150 Danish crowns, post the translation of those in other currencies right here so you can get an idea. The really sought after stuff, I guess, is console games. Consoles are big here as opposed to where I come from. They have a pretty solid collection of PlayStation 2, 3 and upwards. They have some PlayStation 1 titles there, unfortunately not a lot that interests me. However, even if they did interest me, like this Worms Armageddon, the prices are quite way more than the PC games, 10-15 times more than that. And looking at the price in general, Læsehesten has pretty okay prices when you compare with online sources like eBay, your Amazon, that sort of stuff. It's a great place for me to go there because again, PC games are super cheap and I collect PC games. If you're into collecting for consoles, that's not the place to go to get great deals. It's a good place to go to, like, you have like a gap in your collection or you need to fill a particular hole that you're not finding and you find it there and you pay the money and then you have like title 3 out of a rather large series. That's what Læsehesten is really great for, but it's also super interesting just to be surrounded by so much media. Granted, again, most of it, the written and Danish, which whatever, but there's a bunch, like music is universal, doesn't matter what language the music is in. It's the type of place where you can, I don't want to say waste hours because you don't waste hours, but you can spend a lot of time just looking through whatever interests you, whether it's movies or in my case video games or vinyl or all kinds of magazines, looking through books. At a certain point, one of these thrifting episodes, it's also gonna be about non-gaming stuff I buy, and I have some books from there as well. It's risky. Like whenever I go there, I spend money. So I need to balance the amount of times I go to Læsehesten. So anyway, let's jump into the games, which you've probably already read the titles by now, but I have some, well, you might find them interesting additions to the games I got here. And let's start with the most controversial one. Half-Life Anthology. It says on this attracted my eyesight because it's way thicker than the other ones. It's nice and orange. It pops a bit. It says Half-Life 1 Anthology. The complete Half-Life 1 collection includes Opposing Force, Blue Shift, and Team Fortress Classic. Why is this a controversial for me? I am not a fan of Half-Life. I played it. I was pretty much contemporary with it. I played it close to release. I really didn't care for it. It was nice, it was cool, but it was nothing as, for me personally, it was nothing as groundbreaking as it proved to be for most other gamers of the time, or for the gaming industry in general. I just never, it was just never not my, first person shooters in general have not been my thing. And when this came out, I played it and it was fun and funny, and like, there's puzzles and mechanics and pew pew, but it literally never clicked for me. And I know I have a bunch of acquaintances who not only love Half-Life, but you know, they play the mods and they spend a lot of time in Half-Life realm and its subsequent products. Just never for me, man. Like, I got nothing against anyone, obviously, but yeah, that's why it's controversial. And as far as my own gaming geek cred goes, next one, similarly, Baldur's Gate 2. I think this is the Throne of Baal. It does require, I do need Baldur's Gate 2 Shadows of Amn to get it to work, which I won't, because not the same thing. I played Half-Life 1 way more than I played actually Baldur's Gate 2 or 1. Look, I was very aware of the reputation that the Baldur's Gate series had, and unfortunately I didn't have the computer capable of playing them at their time of release or near that time. So by the time I got to them, I had already played things that came out after them. And my mind and my preferences were already fairly set, let's say. I really did not like the real-time combat in this. I generally don't like real-time combat in party-based RPGs. I know you'll say it's with pause, and it is. Nowadays, I think real-time with pause or wait for orders, as it's also otherwise the alternative is called, I think it's much better implemented and things work much more smoother. I can stomach that. I did not really enjoy the combat in any, because I tried both Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. And yeah, again, another super classic, I just couldn't get into. It is what it is. Next one is Thief 2. Now, this is a classic series that I kind of wanted to play. I don't know, I never got around to it somehow. I don't know why. Maybe it was because, it was a first-person thing. And like I said earlier, first-person shooter is not my thing. I know Thief is not a first-person shooter. I'm just saying that's where my mind was generally. I am interested in stealth games in general, and I'm also super interested in Thief. I do want to play it. That's why I got it. This one, Commandos Behind Enemy Lines. I don't know how much of a classic this was outside my region of the world. I'm pretty sure it was a real-time tactics game that, again, this one I wanted to play, but I couldn't because when it came out, I didn't have the computer for it. And then, you know, the story, once I did get a period appropriate computer, I was playing other things and I never got around to Commandos, but soon. Oh yes, Dungeon Keeper 2. This one, I got it, just like Half-Life and Baldur's Gate. I got it because it is a classic. Also because I really dig the design on the demon. Never got to play any of these. I did, however, play, if you remember, if you been following me for a while, Dungeons 2, I believe, which is like a separate series that's kind of like a spiritual successor to the Dungeon Keeper series. Kind of enjoyed that one. I do have Dungeons 3. Don't plan on playing Dungeon Keeper, any of them, but I do plan on collecting them. Talking about collections. This was a great find actually. It has Broken Sword 1 and 2. These are some of the best point and click adventure games to date. and anyone can argue with me against them being some of the best. They're wrong. They just are. And the important part, and this is one of those things where I may actually use this CD, is that the version of Broken Sword 1 Director's Cut that is available now on GOG, for instance, is not this version. It's an updated version. It adds some stuff that's totally fine, but it also takes out and modifies some of the puzzles, makes it more, adds in some slider puzzles that were there for the Nintendo DS. It's just not the original experience, and this will give me the original experience. This might actually be one of those situations where I actually use the CD to actually play the game. So yeah, Broken Sword 1 and 2. I'm gonna need 3. I've played 1 and 2. I don't think I've played 3 onwards, because they got 3D after that, and yeah, it's an iffy subject. And I can't have Thief 2 without Thief 1, The Dark Project. Same story as before. I'll obviously start with Thief 1. Again, always wanted to play this, just never got around to it. I do have it on GOG now, so eventually, at a certain point in time, I will get to it and I'll do a deep dive video of it. I have at least one viewer who I know really enjoys the mods for it. So it has mods, it has a crazy still active community. So more that right there tells you, or tells me, that it's something that at the very least deserves my attention, if not my interest. But it has both of those. And this is Broken Sword 2. Just the single game. I'll get Broken Sword 1 when I get it as well as a single game. You have no idea how important these games were, not only because they were super quality, but also because we got them on from that Level magazine that I've been talking about constantly. Level has been a big part of the lives of all gamers, of most gamers, let's say, in Romania from the mid 90s to mid 2000s, let's say. So that the impact of that magazine runs real deep, and I would show you the magazines, but the stack, I think I still have them back in Romania, but there's so many of them, and unless you know this, like, paper is heavy as shit. I can't really, it'll be super expensive to ship them, regardless which mode of transportation I would use. So, but I am planning a trip back to Romania later on this year, and maybe I'll shoot something there on my phone. So we can talk about the audio is gonna be, well, I can take my mic with me. Anyway, we'll see. Think about it. Settlers 4. Oh yeah, you definitely know I'm collecting the Settlers series, considering how much I enjoyed playing Settlers 3. This is Settlers 4, and it says it's in the Nordic languages, but I don't care, it's Settlers 4. I haven't played it yet. I do plan on playing it later this year, actually. I plan on doing the Settlers titles like I did with, and like I'm doing with Heroes and the City Builders from Sierra, and I am Impressions. The Impression City Builder games, I'm doing one a year. Kind of skipped with Heroes this year. But I don't plan, I plan on continuing with Settlers 4. Cool to have. This is gonna be cool to have in the video. Like, hey, shit, it's nice to have, when you're shooting videos, it's nice to have a physical prop. Oh, this one. I did not expect I would find Sam & Max Hit the Road. Sam & Max Hit the Road. Again, this is from the period of time when I played a fair bit of adventure games. There was a chunk of my gaming life when I played a lot of adventure games. And Sam & Max Hit the Road is one of the weirdest, funniest, and chaotically abstractiest point-and-click adventure games I have had the pleasure of playing. It's insane, it's outlandish, it's just awesome. And since we're still talking about adventure games, this is another title that I never thought I'd actually find. Don't mind the noise. The Longest Journey. The internal thing is broken. The mid thing here is broken, but the disc, ooh, hey, I can see myself in the disc. The disc is fine. I might need to replace that. There is, again, one of the best adventure games ever made, bar none. No, I accept no arguments there. No discussion. And you can find out more about my thoughts on it in the video I made for it, which I'll post there, I think, and in the description. Like, if you haven't seen my longest journey review, please do, because I don't just talk about the game. I also talk about myself a lot through using the game as like a lens. So check that out, and you find out about the game, and you find out some stuff about myself. Oh yes, of course, Fallout 2. Cannot not have Fallout 2 or any of the Fallouts. Fallout is by far one of the game series that has influenced me as a gamer in general. So much so that I have a Fallout themed tattoo. So yeah, obviously I'm gonna try to find as many Fallout games as possible, even including Tactics, although yeah, Fallout Tactics, woof. And now we're getting into the classic stuff. Civilization 2. Civilization 2 has a super special part in my gaming history, this being the first ever full CD game I ever played. Keep in mind, as you've seen in the video about illegal games, totally pirated, by the way, but it looms incredibly large in my gaming history, and also it's such a solid game. I played a lot of Civilization 2 in my time. And you'll remember I also got Test of Time back then, so I'll just get Civilization 2 in any way, shape or form I'll find, just because of, you know, that history, that personal history for me. Yet another title I didn't think I'd actually find is Emperor Rise of the Middle Kingdom. This is very apropos of everything, because this is the next Impressions game on my list. This is the one that ended the series of city builders from Impressions. And just like Zeus and Poseidon, this is one I have never played, and I am super looking forward to checking it out later this year. Don't mind the lighting might have swished a bit in my house. It's just clouds and shit, it's fine. And don't fret, the lighting changed between Emperor and this last title after that, because clouds stuff happened. Also, I had to shut off the camera because it heats up when it records 4K, so I have to record this in like chunks. Final title for today's Video Game Thrifting in Denmark is none other than Total Overdose. Yet another title I never really thought I'd find, and I was ecstatic to find it. Total Overdose is not the type of game you would normally associate with my channel, and that's totally fair. Like, I've talked about my the types of games I should have liked, like Baldur's Gate and didn't, and other classics that I just couldn't get into, like Half-Life. Total Overdose really isn't anywhere in the realm of stuff I normally play. For whatever reason, when it came out, I got it, I played it, I loved it, I covered it on the channel, link here, or obviously there's gonna be links in the description for everything else I referred to. So yeah, these were 15 titles out of 15 titles I got from Læsehesten. I have another Læsehesten trip planned very soon to see what else I can find, because, you know, like, these, I got these in like 2 trips, I think, and these were the first, the main titles that popped up for me. But there might be some more, you know, like tertiary titles that maybe weren't necessarily in the forefront of my mind, but things like Total Overdose and Emperor, almost said Emperor Battle for Dune, and I do need that one. And Civilization 2 and Simon Max Hit the Road and The Longest Journey, those were things I didn't really think I'd find, and I am super happy to have them in my physical collection. What's coming up next on the channel? Pretty much more or less of the same. I do have another illegal games from '99 planned in order to do this the next episode. I have a bit, the format has to change a bit, so, and it's gonna take a bit longer to do, because I want to show you more gameplay footage and also talk about the games. So that implies me scrounging up and getting the games, playing the games, capturing footage, making a nice package of it. So I love going back to those old discs. So I have one of those on the table. At least one other special video that I need to get some time to record properly. Another one, part of one of my series that I started, I think last year, if I'm not mistaken. But then, but otherwise, yeah, I'm trying again to stream. I think that some extra sun is coming in. I hope, I'll see if that fucks up my video. I'm trying to stream once a week. Now, it hasn't been that successful. I'm trying to see when during the week I can get as many of you there as possible. Maybe I should move it to something like Sunday evening. You can tell me in the comments. I'll need to post a poll on the community tab for that. Likewise, I'm trying to get I'm waiting for more answers on my poll about my podcast idea. I want to get that rolling as well within a couple of months maybe. So things are brewing. Games I'm still playing. I'm obviously playing stuff. Also expect the occasional short video, which I generally do in the weeks when I don't have a major video up. So that's kind of what's going on. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. I've been Stephen Ansens, and hopefully you'll see me in my next video.